So let's start with a really big question. What if I told you there's a kind of hidden logic, almost like an operating system, that runs the entire universe? I mean, something that governs everything from how stars are born to how our cities grow. Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore today. We're going to peel back 13.8 billion years of cosmic history to see if we can find this fundamental code.
Okay, so think about this for a second. What on Earth connects a massive spiral galaxy, the human brain, and a sprawling global city? I know, it sounds like a trick question, right? You've got the silent, slow dance of a galaxy, the lightning-fast firing of neurons in your head, and the buzzing, nonstop chaos of a place like Tokyo or New York. They couldn't seem more different.
But here's the thing, they are connected. And the connection isn't something physical you can touch. It's an idea. A single, incredibly powerful idea that explains how the universe consistently manages to build these complex, orderly, and, honestly, beautiful things out of what looks like pure chaos. And that idea is called complexity theory.
All right, let's get into it. What is complexity theory? What do we even mean when we say something is a complex system? And how does it pull off this magic trick of creating order from chaos? First off, it's super important to know that complex isn't the same as complicated. A jet engine is complicated, right? But you can take it apart and put it back together. A complex system is different. It's made of many different parts that are all interacting with each other, and their collective behavior is totally unpredictable just by looking at the individual parts. The classic example is a flock of birds. There's no leader bird telling everyone where to go, but somehow they create these amazing synchronized patterns. They're operating in this perfect sweet spot, what scientists call the edge of chaos. It's not perfectly orderly, because that's boring and rigid, and it's not total chaos, because that's just random noise. It's right there in the middle, in that creative zone where new, amazing things, like life, can pop into existence.
And what's cool is that all these different complex systems, whether it's an ecosystem or an economy, share some key features. You've got emergence, which is just a fancy way of saying the whole is more than the sum of its parts. A single ant is kind of dumb, but a colony of ants, that's a superorganism. They also self-organize. Nobody is in charge, they just organize. A city neighborhood develops its own vibe without some central planner dictating it. And crucially, they're adaptive. They learn from their environment and change. They evolve.
This really helps put it all into perspective. So on one end of the spectrum, you have simple order. Think of a crystal. It's perfectly structured, totally predictable, but also kind of frozen, It doesn't do anything. Then, way over on the other end, you have total chaos, like gas molecules just bouncing around randomly in a container. There's no structure at all. Complexity is that magic zone right in the middle. An ecosystem is the perfect example. It's not rigid, but it's not random either. It's this dynamic, evolving, information-packed space where all the truly interesting stuff in the universe happens.
Okay, but this brings up a huge paradox, right? We all learned about the second law of thermodynamics in school, the idea that everything in the universe is constantly moving towards more disorder, more chaos, entropy. So if that's true, how in the world does the universe build anything complex? Well, and this is the mind-blowing part. It turns out that under the right conditions, when you have a system with a constant flow of energy moving through it, it can create these little islands of order, things like a hurricane or a living cell. And get this, these ordered structures are actually really good at creating disorder around them. So in a weird way, the universe creates order so it can get to chaos even faster on a bigger scale. Order doesn't happen despite the chaos, it happens because of it.
So if that's what complexity is, the next big question is, how does it happen? What are the ingredients? Turns out, the recipe is surprisingly simple.
Basically, you can boil it down to just 3 key ingredients, and you see them in every single complex system, from a tiny cell to the global economy. Number 1, you need energy. This is the fuel. For a star, it's nuclear fusion. For you, it's the food you eat. Number 2, you need organization. You need some kind of structure to channel all that energy. Think of the veins in a leaf or the power grid of a city. And number 3, you need information. This is the secret sauce. It's the feedback loop that lets the system sense its environment and adapt. Your DNA is information. Stock market prices are information. You mix these 3 things together and bam, you've got the potential for complexity.
Okay, so now that we have our recipe, we can look back and see how it's played out across cosmic history. This framework gives us a whole new way to understand the grand narrative of our universe. Let's do a quick trip through time. Way back at the beginning, 13.8 billion years ago, you basically just had 2 of the ingredients, energy and matter. And gravity provided the organization, pulling that stuff together to form the first stars and galaxies. But then,
Right here on Earth, something absolutely incredible happened. Life appeared. And life brought that third ingredient to the party: information, stored in DNA. That was a total game changer. Suddenly, systems could remember, replicate, and adapt. Fast forward a few billion years, and you get us. Humans evolved language and culture, which is just a whole new, faster way of sharing information. And now, just in the last few decades, our technology has wired the entire planet together. We've created this global system of complexity that's moving faster than anything that's come before.
And that brings us right up to today, to us. And this is probably the most critical takeaway from this whole story. Because this isn't some slow, steady process. The one thing you might have noticed is that it's getting faster, a lot faster.
And I mean a lot faster. The numbers are just staggering. Every time the universe hits one of these major new levels of complexity, from life to human culture to technology, the pace of change accelerates by a factor of about 1,000. 1,000 times faster. So what took biology billions of years to achieve, human culture did in millions. And what took human culture millions of years, our technology is doing in just a few thousand or even centuries. We are living through an explosion of complexity unlike anything the universe has ever seen before.
So, what does that mean for us? Well, it's a double-edged sword. This new, hyper-connected world we've built is in some ways incredibly resilient. We can solve problems on a global scale. But at the same time, it's also terrifyingly fragile. We've all seen it, right? One little thing goes wrong in one corner of the world, a virus, a problem with a shipping canal, a bank failure, and suddenly the shockwaves ripple across the entire planet in an instant.
Which leaves us with the ultimate question. As we keep riding this accelerating wave, pushing complexity further and faster than ever, where are we going? Are we building towards some incredible, unimaginable breakthrough for our species? Or have we built a system that's just too complex, too interconnected, and too fragile to survive? Is this the road to a breakthrough or a breakdown? Right now, nobody knows for sure.